more than a headache, no? So they use battering ram, and then they brought a tower, and then they burn here. This is the place where they broke the siege and destroyed the wall and entered with their forces. But that night they went back to their army camp, believed, well, we'll continue tomorrow morning. Now the commander of the zealots had to decide what to do. He knew, not like today, that I'm taking my cell phone and look what is the stock exchange in Indonesia. They were here. They thought we are the last Jews in the world. The last thing that they saw was a temple destruction. Jews were killed. Jews are slaves. No more independence. No more freedom. But they came here to be free. Come to this side, please. חיכיתי שתבוא הסוף של הקבוצה, לא ראיתי ש... כן, זהו. Anyway, what I want you to understand that the commander, Elazar ben Yair, he knew three things. I have about 1,000 men, women, and children here, and we came to be free, and we came because we are zeal for God. Now, if you think that you are the last Jew in the planet and all you have are slaves and a temple that was destroyed, you prefer to die as free Jew, the last Jews in the world, than letting the Romans kill you. Now, if someone would tell him, hey, someone from Fox News would say, don't worry, we still have Judaism. Jews just moved on with their life. And instead of temple, they built synagogues, and they moved to Galilee, and they moved to Baghdad, and they moved to Istanbul, and they moved to, to Fresno and to Bakersfield. Okay? But he had no news. They thought we are the last ones. So he decided to tell his people, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. Let me give you the speech of Elazar. Are you ready? Since we, long ago, my generous friends, resolved never to be servants to the Romans, nor to any other than to God himself, who alone is the true and just Lord of mankind. The time is now come that obliges us to make that resolution true in practice. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. We were the very first that revolted against the Romans. And we are the last that fight against them. And I cannot but esteem it as a favor that God had granted us, that it is still in our power to die bravely and in a state of freedom, which was not the case of others who were conquered unexpectedly. It is very plain that we shall be taken within a day's time, but it is still an eligible thing to die after a glorious manner together with our dearest friends. Let our wives die before they are abused, and our children before they have tasted slavery. We should slay them, and bestow the glorious benefit upon one another mutually, and preserve ourselves in freedom as an excellent funeral monument for us. But first, let's destroy our money and the fortress by fire, for I'm well assured that this will be a bitter blow to the Romans. They shall not be able to seize upon our bodies, and shall fail to our wealth also. Let us spare nothing but our provisions, for this will be a testimonial when we are dead, that we subdued not for necessaries, and according to original resolution, we have preferred death before slavery. Ba-bam. What happened here? The leaders of the zealots, they did not commit suicide. This is one of the biggest mistakes that people think. No one. Listen. What they did is they gathered everybody in a room. Everybody wrote his name on a piece of clay, pottery, called ostrakon. Okay? Then they draw lots, and 10 men were chosen. Those 10 men came and killed everyone around on the top of the fortress. They killed their friends and relatives and their family and their children. They went back to the room. Then they drew lots again. And one was chosen. And he killed the other 9. And then he fell on his sword. They destroyed everything in the fortress. The next morning, the Romans are coming. And what a Roman soldier expect after 3 years of siege?
Fight.
Bounty.
Spoils.
He wants to rape the women and looting. That's the reason why you joined the army at that time. I know it sounds strange. But now there's nothing there. Oh my God, I spent 3 years in the desert eating dust. And that's what I have here. But one of them was an author. A Jewish guy that was one of the leaders of the rebellion, but a traitor that changed his mind and became the author of the Romans in order to save his own skin. His name was Yosef ben Matityahu, Joseph, son of Matthew. But now he had to follow the leader of the Romans, Vespasian. So he changed his name to Josephus Flavius. And now he writes the history for the Romans. So he talks about the rebellion, he talks about the Maccabees, he talks about the Jews, he talks about the temple, he talks about the temple destruction. And on his last chapter, he talks about what happened on Masada. And on the last page, he talks about what happened here, and that he came here, and he found 2 women and 4 children. They told him what happened, and they gave him the speech of Elazar. And he said on the last paragraph of his book, there is no more Jewish independence in Judea. End of story. So Masada, that started in the year 50 BC, ended 123 years later, around 73 AD, and then it was forgotten. Is that the end of our story? No. Are you ready for the last one?
Yes.
1948, a Jewish state was established here. The chief of staff of the Israeli army, his name was Igal Yadin. He's an archaeologist. His father is archaeologist. So he said, well, 1900 years after we were expelled from this land, we have a state now. So where was the last place that we had Jewish independence? Where is that Masada? So he started to look at all the mountains around. They all look the same. And then he came here. And one of the most important things that he found here was 10 pieces of pottery with names of people on them. So I said, wow, this Josephus, he was right. And then they found the storerooms and the rooms and the Babel and the siege ramp and the camps and so on. So that became our story. So Igal Yadin, in order to convince people that this is a symbol, he made kind of a statement, and he said he came here to the top of the mountain. There was no cable car at that time. So the idea was we should climb Masada, and when we are on the top, we should say, Masada shall not fall again. It's almost like the Alamo fortress for you, where you say, remember the Alamo, although it was a big defeat also. So here, we lost, no, if you think about it. But we turned this story of Masada to become the myth or the story of the freedom of Israel today. So young kids, all of those kids, are climbing Masada. Every day you will see, look at you, mother, you are so beautiful this way. You know why? You spoiled them. Is that an apple? Okay. Don't give them industrial food. Okay? People give them chips and then they die.
Yeah.
So, the kids of Israel, we are climbing Masada. On primary school, on high school, on youth movement, on military service. If you're a tour guide, 500 times in your life. Okay? But the reason is that we come here to say, Masada shall not fall again.
Do the soldiers come here regularly when they...
Well, until 1978, every soldier came here and swore his oath to the state of Israel. But then Israelis like to argue. So one of the arguments was, this is not a place to do it. Because those people, those soldiers did not fight till the end. And you want to teach your soldiers to
Fight till the
end and not to commit suicide or to kill your own families. So this is not a good place, a lesson. but maybe is to shape a story of independence. You want to teach the story. By the way, today everybody teach the story in a different way, but just to let you know. So before we leave, we say.
What's up? What's up? Bridge Bible. Bridge Bible. Never again, Masada.
Masada.
For Masada. That's right. Hey, Sonny. Hi. Hi, Beth. Never again. Don't forget the Alama Masada. Right? Yes. For the glorious day. There you go. There you go, girl.
Masada will never fall again.
That's right. That's right.
Masada shall never fall
Say
again.
it, Mrs. Carter. Say it like you mean it.
Do you want my interpretation, Ronan's?
Yep.
I think, based on things that I read through the years, at that time, camels, and definitely this animal, they pass diseases.
Yeah.
Okay? Still today, this animal, Hyrax, the small one, it's one of the problems because they go to places where water is and they're passing diseases. So we need to every time make sure that the water that we have from rivers and so on where this animal is, so it's not good. So we just mentioned David right now. Please open Psalm 42. Psalm 42. Come on, we need to say it loud. Loud. Liz.
Yeah. Psalm 42.
Georgina, you ready?
Lord my God, earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you.
What? My
Soul thirsts for
thirst for you. Because you are living water. Go ahead.
My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water.
Where in a dry and weary land when there is no water. Now this tour is...
Hold it for a second.
I'm not worrying.
What's he want to do? Squatting. He wants to work out. He hasn't got a good workout.
That look. This is my protection. Is what this is. You see that? Look at him. You got the camera ready and everything.
This is what, like, I got,